It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Koss.
Well, I know he had a good time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the #1 podcast amongst soul searchers everywhere. Soulmates, soul searchers, whatever you're searching for, we got you covered. It is the Swipe Wrong podcast. I am your host. I am Koss. I am that guy. I'm always that guy. I'm on the show. I'm that guy. In real life, I'm definitely not that guy. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Hope everybody's been enjoying the show as we're about to drop episode 99 and soon episode 100. That we're kind of excited about that. Kind of can't believe it's gone this way, but in totally different directions than we thought too. Like the show will probably do okay, drop it on all the platforms, and then all of a sudden YouTube was like, nah, we'll take over and we'll be your #1 platform. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds fun. So let's keep the house, shall we? Like, follow, subscribe, tell friends, hit that like button below, or subscribe button below, all the buttons below, hit all the good buttons below. Press buttons. We're all into pressing buttons. There's no red flags on the show, just a whole bunch of buttons to press. Share with your friends. I guarantee as you listen to the show, as you get into the show, there's a ton of shorts out there. And of course, the shorts are, little snippets of what the shows are. But as you listen to the show, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. At least 80 times. You'll do that at least 80 times. And at least one of those 80 times, share it with your friends or your enemies. Either one, but your friends will probably have a little bit better time with it. We're everywhere. We're Insta, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you think that we might be. We're there. We're lurking. We're kind of in the shadows. So check those out too. And let us know, give us feedback on what you think or what you'd like to, if you have ideas on, hey, this would be kind of fun to see. We'll take it too. You can email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. You can always call us 317-426-6616. Text us at that number too. Whatever works for you guys. Would love, our goal is to get everybody's stories, and it's funny because we'll get we'll jump 5 shows in a day sometimes, and then we'll just kind of take a break and a little bit of a hiatus, and then we're back to need to do a few shows. So please let us know what's happening. This episode is one that I wanted to drop here because it's been played, the audio version is out there. But I wanted the video version out there too, because we recorded this way before. It's one of I reference this one quite often when I talk to people about the show. It's not gone catfishing, which I think is the one I tell everybody about. But this one's a close second or third, I would say. It's up there. But we didn't have video. We weren't dropping videos at the time, and we had the video, but we just hadn't expanded, our reach, I guess. And so now we're like, hey, let's drop this one as an idea because it's a good one. And since our top platform is YouTube right now, we might as well put it on there. And yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. So sit back, relax, put your feet up, enjoy, grab your popcorn, get it buttered. And if you're in traffic, please don't hit that person next to you, and enjoy a re-airing of airing some dirty laundry.
Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
So I think let's start, I guess, at the beginning. So how long have you been on the apps?
It was just Facebook dating app. So I've obviously been a part of Facebook for a long time. And whenever the dating opportunity it was mentioned to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to try this out. I've been on it since I've been divorced, and that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so if you're interested in a whole other story,
I'm interested in your story, all your stories and your story. Absolutely. Whatever you want to tell, be like, this one time at band camp, I'm in. Let's do it.
I was fresh out of divorce. I get on Facebook dating. One guy pops up. I'm like, oh, he's handsome. We hit it off. He's very charismatic. This has nothing to do with why you even contacted me, but let me just lay the foundation for why this is not for me. So we hit it off. He's like an hour away from me. We meet up. We do dinner. But he was very quick to, I want to meet your kids, and I want to do this with y'all. And very much a lot like the guy that I just had another terrible date with. But I was fresh out of a divorce, and I seem to have a type, and the type is like very, not controlling, but they're just very, I don't know the right word for it. They're just very charismatic, but they know how to manipulate a situation. So I'm learning where my red flags are and what to avoid.
All right, cool.
So I did meet up with him. I let him take me and my kids to a movie, and this was after 2 months of talking.
Okay.
Learned that was a mistake, because the more I dug about him and the more he talked about himself in his past, the more I realized I don't think he's being honest. So he was saying that he owned land in Pennsylvania, he owned land in Florida, and he owned land here, he owned land there. And I thought, do you really? So I started digging some more. I was looking on like the, I don't know, appraisal district places to see if I could even find like his name on owning anything in this specific city, in this specific state. And his name is not coming up on anything. In fact, whenever I Google him, nothing, like not even a LinkedIn or anything like that. So I'm like, man, this is weird. So I called in the big dogs, called out my girlfriends, and I was like, I need you to help me find more information about this. I don't think he's being honest. And he was awfully cautious about not leaving his wallet around me.
Really?
And I thought,
that's weird.
Weird, strange. Okay. So long story short, I find out that he is not, in fact, the person that he says he is. He has this whole other name identity. I found out he was only here for work. He had a wife and 2 little boys at home, and an ex-wife and 2 big boys in Florida.
Oh, fuck.
So the name that this man gave me was a completely made up name that he stole from, I think, a friend of his. So he's got a friend that was like Morgan Bach, and then his name was like Jimmy Bach. And I'm like, this is my life. This is real life. So I didn't even confront this one. You'll see a pattern here. I didn't even confront this one. But we did find the wife. Oh, wow. And we let her know. And she was very thankful for that information. And like I said, she was in Pennsylvania with kids. He was here for work. And so this is where that term West Texas single comes from, because these men come here to work and they have whole ass families at home.
Shit. I didn't even know that. No shit.
This was right out of the gate. I'm freshly divorced. The ink was still drying when this shit happens to me. And I haven't dated since.
Well, you're also so you're coming out of the divorce. Like, so you're like, okay, so how do people date now? And you're like, oh, this online dating thing. This is how they do it now. And this is your first fucking experience when this happens. You're going, can I just meet? I'm going to run into somebody's cart at the grocery store. Is probably what you're thinking at this point.
Oh, good. I was like, this ain't for me. And I thought, I'm just going to meet somebody naturally. So it started going out to the bars. I went out dancing. And I mean, I did meet some people naturally that way. Some that, like, not a lot of men are cut out to be step parents to 3 children. So I do come with baggage, but I respect if you're able to recognize that pretty quick. I don't waste your time. You don't waste mine. So I'm pretty good about that. I respect that. It's not for everybody. So,
You
and
know,
like
just
I said, I haven't dated. I've been on a few first dates, but nothing ever really goes
Yeah,
past that. It's like,
sure.
not great. So I actually deactivated it for a while. I deactivated because you can just like turn it off and on.
Yeah,
It's got a
yeah, for
toggle
sure.
to it.
For sure.
So
For
turned it
sure.
off for quite a while.
So,
Recently turned it back on within the month, and I
when you
met
did
this
that,
guy.
though, let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but let me ask you. Well, two things. One, meeting someone organically. I've heard the best term I've heard for that now is called dating in the wild. I think that was kind of funny. I think that's perfect. Lined up right on. I'm like, that's perfect. And then two.
Yeah.
So before you fired on dating again, were you like, all right, I'm gonna at least do X, Y, and Z a little bit differently? Was there like a different plan of attack of how you were gonna vet somebody?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to start doing. Well, I got kicked off the background check site that I was using.
Oh, fuck. What'd you do? What'd you do?
I was playing with it. I was like, I'm gonna search up my mom. I'm gonna search up my dad. I'm gonna search up my best friend. I'm like, what are they not telling me? So I got an email that said that I couldn't do that anymore.
Oh, that's
and
kind
I
of
got
funny.
kicked off of it.
Okay.
So, but I do try to do like extensive Google searching, and I know
Oh,
there's
that's
only
cool.
so much that you can get off of Google. If you have any new background places that I can look
What
for,
did you use?
definitely want to
What
know.
did you use?
I think it was called Info Tracer or something similar.
Okay. I have a friend who has a pretty detailed one, and I will reach out to that person and I'll IM it to you.
Okay.
All right. Fair
That'll
enough.
be
Now,
great.
I don't know if you can check on your dog and your neighbor or anything like that and not get kicked off. So I don't know the rules, but but I'll find that out and get that to you for sure.
I was like, how accurate is this? I Googled not Googled, I searched my ex. That one was pretty accurate. I searched
Is it?
myself.
Yeah.
What's on my background?
Well, I mean, that's
So
cool. Like
don't do that.
you gotta test to see, like, all right, so does this site work? Like, I totally get that. And like, I'm the biggest proponent. Like when people ask me, out of the people I talk to, what's the number one advice I would get? Background check everybody. I mean, you're not gonna know if they're fucking crazy or not, but you're at least gonna have more information about the type of person they are.
And it was active whenever I was dating that guy. It was active and I used it and I was like, nothing. I get nothing.
I'm asking right now.
And I think he was forthcoming. He said he had a DUI or something on his from a long time ago. I was like, let's find out.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you like tell a guy, and this is my opinion, like if you tell a guy, hey, by the way, background checked you, and if they trip out, they need to peace. Take care of yourself, buddy. Because like I fully would expect it. Like, sure, absolutely. Look into me. Here you go. Check me out. I think that's the safest way to go.
100% agree. And some of them will be forthcoming about some information, but then they'll omit like bigger things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what have you ran into? Like, I know the crazy date, and that's why we connected, but was there any dates before the madness ensued? Like where you're like, and I know you had a couple of first dates, but there's a couple like, hey, this is not the vibe check I was looking for, or this guy's pretty cool, or you found some things like, I'd like to date a guy like this, but he didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of everything. I've had some that, conversation was very dull, very dry, and I didn't really pursue. Because I want somebody that I can have a great conversation with. Because I'm around kids all day. So the last thing I want to come home and talk to somebody that can't rub two brain cells together. So I need to have that outlet to have someone to talk to.
For sure.
So
I totally get that.
And so the dry texters, that's not for me.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm doing too much of the heavy lifting of the conversation, I end up I stop reaching out, and it usually fizzles out. So
okay, fair enough.
And so it's hard to say. I mean, apparently they weren't interested. I feel like I'm pretty open-minded about I'm pretty confident in myself. I mean, I don't need to do a lot of the work. I do want someone to meet me halfway. So I know what I'm going to tolerate and what I'm not. I keep getting sent these goofballs that have these weird, weird fantasies. I don't know. I guess
Please, you do tell. Like when you're like going, what the fuck is this, bro? On one of those weird fantasies that I assume somebody shared.
I had one that seemed to think that it was super hot that I would go out and get hit on. So he wanted to hear about it. And I'm like, this is weird, man.
Wow.
He said, I just want to, he was a watcher is what I was picking up. I was like,
yeah,
man,
for
this
sure.
is not my thing either. I was like, I'm not a prude by any means, but man, I was like, I'm not going to talk to you about things that I've done with other people or going out and getting hit on. Like, I don't know.
The level of crazy is just like, dude, you sit there and just like, this is a book. Like, oh my gosh, this is a total
honestly,
book.
my friends and I have talked about how we really should make a book or reality show out of just my life, because my kids I'm doing it by myself. I've got 3 of them. I'm a teacher. So just some of the stories that I tell, they're like, man, if you had a reality show, like, you're right. I would make millions out of the chaos and the things that happen to me, because when I tell stories, people are like, that sounds made up. And I'm like, I can't make this shit up.
Your backup crew, I forget how you referred to them. I apologize. Your friends. Are most of them married? The big dogs, sorry. Are most of them married, or are they single too?
Yeah, most of them are married.
So they love your stories. So they're like, give me another train wreck. I want another train wreck, please. That's what they're
through me, yes. But they're the first ones, like my sister especially. She's a mom and she's at home most of the time. She does have a full-time job, but she finds herself at home bored a lot. So I'm like, hey, look up this one. This is his birthday. Awesome. Tell me what you find out. And she will dig, and she'll be like, who is this girl in this one picture in that one place? Like, do you know this person?
That is awesome.
Has he mentioned this one? She's really good. My mom does a lot of it too.
Oh, perfect. That's cool. Yeah. The whole family affair. Look at you.
I'm telling you, I've got quite the village. And it's because of the toxic relationship that I spent 10 years staying in. It was no good for me or the kids. And so they're like, we have your back. So whatever you need from us, I was like, this is what I need. I need you to make sure I'm not with another crazy. And they warned me about the first one. I didn't listen. So lesson learned there.
Well, so correct me, like, help me out. Like, I may be wrong, but what I hear a lot, people come out of long relationships, 10-year marriages and stuff, and your self-confidence is a little down. Do I still have it is down. So you're kind of out there just seeing, all right, let me just gauge the interest and see if I quote unquote still have it or whatever, and trying to raise your self-esteem. Is that pretty accurate in your situation?
Oh yeah, 100%. My self-esteem was very shot. I feel like I did a lot of the grieving for the divorce before the divorce ever happened, because it was just, I pulled away much earlier than I filed. So it was very shot. And so between dating that guy and then, going out to the bars, and it's very flattering, and it helped build the self-confidence, and it probably wasn't the best place to be doing it.
Sure.
Because I'm sure some of the guys had genuine motives and others probably not so genuine, but it was just getting the attention definitely brought it back up. And then over time, it was a lot about, hey, look at me, I'm doing it by myself. So that was another big one.
Good.
Because the ex made a decent amount of money and I didn't. So he said a lot of mean things about, you can't do it without me. So not only, I mean, I've done therapy. Therapy, and I'm not ashamed to say it has helped me tremendously work through it. I'm not the problem.
No, that's what it's there for. That's exactly what it's there for too.
And he would beat me down, and he knew exactly where to hit.
Oh, so girl, I'm sorry. I'm so happy you're out of that, though. I mean,
me too.
You go from one level of that you can't match that, but now you're into a new level of holy shit, what's out in the world now?
Like, what the fuck is happening?
It is madness. I don't know, but your self-confidence seems like it's way up, though, huh?
It's definitely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And so
good.
that took time and it took work, and it wasn't easy. I mean,
Good.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I went to bed every night confident that I knew what I was doing and that
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be alone forever. And
Yeah.
um
Yeah. That's
talking
awesome.
myself out of, you're not desperate, you don't need somebody,
Mm-mm.
you want somebody. And the more confident I am about my own life, the more it radiates, and I seem to attract more people doing that.
Isn't that crazy
So
how that happens?
yeah.
It really does. Like self-confidence, self-esteem, and like the biggest thing that I think people should learn, and just my own personal journey, is like, be your biggest fan. Let everybody else worry about shit that you may or may not be able to do. You just be, because you have overcome the worst days you've had so far. You're kind of a badass. So just keep focusing on all the good stuff, and all that good will come right back to you.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
fake it till you make it, even if,
Yeah, for sure.
you know,
For
like,
sure.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
And you keep going forward, fuck it. If you fail, fuck it. At least you gave it a shot. And then you know what not to do. Keep going forward. You got it.
Exactly.
You got it. So when did you meet this clown? And like, first of all, I guess when I reached out to you, I'm like, gosh, I hope she doesn't think this is just some random ass dude going, hey, you got a pretty mouth, all deliverance and shit. So thank you for replying. You awesome to talk to. So when did you meet this clown?
It would it was a week ago. No, 2 weeks ago. Sorry, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, I matched with him on a Saturday, and again, great conversationalist. Really easy to talk to, knew what to say and how to say it. I didn't catch any red flags in the conversation. He didn't have any of that alpha male tendencies whenever we were talking there. So I agreed to this date, and it was great. Like I said, great conversation. Good morning,
Sure.
Good night, all day long. And so Wednesday I get some flowers at work, because I had said, I teach out here. And so didn't see any red flags there, but my trauma response was, I'm being love bombed. No, I'm being love bombed. And it was the big dogs that they were like, okay, that's your trauma speaking. This could be a romantic gesture. He could be old fashioned. And I'm like, okay. So going into Friday, I was very cautiously optimistic. I thought, okay, we'll see if he's really crazy, if he really was love bombing me, or if he is just a genuine person who knows how to treat a lady. And I was like, I would eat that up. So we did dinner first. And again, no red flags at dinner. And it wasn't until I agreed to go to drinks afterwards that the crazy came out. He was, and when I say alpha male, I don't mind somebody being confident. That is not it at all. But he was laying it on thick.
Like how so? Like what was he saying?
Basically said, let me backtrack. He was like, I want you to delete all my competition. You're done. I'm taking you off the market. I'm taking you off the market. Then he said, oh, you drive a Buick. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that for you. What do you want? You live in an apartment. Oh, honey, we got to get you something bigger. You deserve a yard. You deserve a yard. I'm like, I know I deserve a yard. Like, I don't need you buying it for me on date one. Oh, we're going to have joint bank accounts. You just give me an allowance. You just give me an allowance and the rest is yours. And I'm like, oh my God, he's absolutely insane.
He wants an allowance. Thanks, Mom.
The kicker though, okay, so oil field guys tend to have wonky schedules. I mean, it might be 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Okay. 2
weeks on, 1 week off. They might have 2 weeks of day shift and they'll have a week off, 2 weeks of night shift. So this one in particular was the last one, was the latter. He does 2 weeks of day shift. He would have a week off and 2 weeks of night shift. And he made the comment that he was staying in a room. And so I asked him, I brought that up at dinner. I said, you're saying you're in a room, which would explain why I didn't find any information on him here.
Yeah.
You're staying in a room, so you're not here permanently. And he was like, he said, I'm in a hotel. I'm staying there until I get an apartment that opens up. And so I thought more about that. And I'm like, I have enough friends to know that, I mean, we're not in a boom. We're not hurting for apartments. There are apartments open. I don't think you're looking.
Yeah.
Which I didn't tell him that outright, but I was like, I'm pretty sure there's plenty available. Where are you looking? And he was like, well, I've looked at a couple places. I was like, okay. So basically you're not looking hard enough. But I know also that they don't always keep the guys in the hotel unless they're on call or currently working.
Okay.
So I said, where do you stay when you're on your weeks off? He said, I go home. And I said, where is home? At this point, I knew that most of his family was in Arkansas. So I was expecting Arkansas.
Sure.
He said, to Alabama. I was like,
Whoa.
what's in Alabama? And he said, well, my ex-wife took me there. And I said, so where do you stay when you go to Alabama? And he said he stays in the house that he rents. And I said, who's in the rent house? And he goes, oh, my ex-wife is in the rent house. And I said, are you even divorced? And he was like, well, the papers have been signed, the papers have been filed, but they haven't been signed yet. And I said, so you're not divorced? And I said, I am officially the other woman. Thank you for letting me know. And I did
don't mean
tell
to
him
laugh.
that,
I'm sorry, but I love that comment.
And I was in shock at this point. So I said, let me summarize what you just told me. On your week off, you go home to Alabama and you stay in the house with the ex-wife that you're not really exed from, and y'all don't do anything. And he was like, yeah, we don't speak to each other. She stays on the top floor and I stay on the bottom floor. We don't. I said, that's really hard to believe. And I really feel like the other woman at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, his ego was hurt, and he was, because I'm calling him out.
Right.
And so he laid it on a little bit thicker about how, you would be the only one. I'm going to put you on a pedestal. You would be my queen.
Oh my goodness.
Probably I said, she's probably sitting at home wondering where you're at, what you're doing, and who you're with.
Yeah, for sure.
He goes, no. She's moved on. So that's hard to believe. So I did stay for a little bit longer, but it really kind of fizzled out at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I need to go home. So he walks me to the car. And this is when the weirdest thing I've ever happened to me happened. We're parked near each other, and I give him a hug, and I said, you have a good night. And he goes, hey, can you do me a favor? And I was like, depends. This is first date, remember? And he goes, oh, if you don't mind. He opened his truck door and he grabbed out the laundry bag and he hands it to me. And he goes, if it's not a big deal, will you wash these for me? And I know I'm holding this bag, and I know I made this face. I was like, are you serious?
Oh my God. What the fuck?
I shit you not. I know I didn't tell this man no or yes. I didn't even speak. Are you serious? He opened my car door and he set it in there and he closed it. And he was like, yeah, if you don't mind.
Oh my God. Oh, like he didn't even go in for a kiss. He just said, here's my laundry. That's pretty much right. That's how it went.
He walked away.
Oh my God. And walked away.
Yeah. He was like, I'll text you tomorrow. And I'm like, okay.
No. What'd you do?
I called my best friend. I was like, bitch. This man just handed me his laundry. She goes, no, he didn't. I said, I have his dirty chonies in my back seat. What do I do?
Oh, like, and that had to be premeditated.
Someone come get them. And I'm like, I don't want to see him.
Right. And that had to be like, he had to be like it ended up in his car at some point, and he's had like some sort of preconceived notion to like, I know what I'll do. I'll just have her like, what the fuck?
Was this premeditated?
I mean, at some point, but God, that's a good, like, I kind of think it was. Now, granted, they may have been in there and he may have come out to the car and he may have had the idea. Where do you go from sending flowers to somebody you're trying to court to, hey, here's my fucking laundry?
He made the comment, I take care of you, you take care of me.
Oh
and I
my
think
god.
that's what it goes back to. I give you
Oh my
flowers.
God.
I'm going to buy you things, but in return, I need you to be my slave. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, here's my line. Like the most chauvinistic thing you could possibly do. Like that is so ridiculous.
I kept his laundry for majority of the Saturday. I drove around with it in my backseat for far too long.
Yeah.
Because, Big Dog said, we need to put onion powder in it. We're going to get it wet. We're going to put onion powder in his chicken. We're going to put cayenne pepper in his crotch. And I'm like, ooh, that's good.
That's good. That's good.
Someone said icy hot. And when he gets sweaty, it'll burn. I was like, okay. I was like, but I mean, guys, he's scary.
You really could have done so much. So what did you end up doing?
I dropped it off at a laundromat.
Did you really?
I did.
And just texted him where it was at or something?
Yeah. I said, hey, it's at such and such laundromat in Midland. I was far too nice. And that's a blessing and a curse. I was far too nice. But I was a little petty. I told him it's at such and such laundromat. There's 4 of them.
Oh, no shit. That's cool. That's pretty cool. No, that's not petty. I think that's great. There you go.
And then I blocked him. So I'm not going to tell you which one it's at. You might have to find it.
There you go. I think that's fucking great. Oh my God. Like, so you talk about like the guys on the apps. Like, I think there's 3 things that go into, just the male ego, keyboard courage, and anonymity. And when those 3 are involved, guys it can be a fucking train wreck. Like they're just like, and then like, so he was like flowers and then he did this. Like, so did you think like, I'm not dating ever again? I mean, where'd you go from here?
I let it simmer a little bit. I do have somebody that reached out I have somebody that I have been Facebook friends with a long time. And it was one of those things that if you were good looking and I did a little bit of Facebook scrolling and liked what I saw, I would approve friend requests. But up until that point, it wasn't, I'm not going to be friends with anybody on Facebook unless I know them personally.
Right.
And so I kind of went a little lenient on that personal role. And so I've met some people doing that. And then there's some that I became friends with. No, still never had a conversation with, but we have each other on Facebook. So anyways, this one, he reached out to me yesterday. And so I was like, I'm still a little weary, but I've seen enough of his Facebook and his stories and to kind of have a feel about like what kind of person he is on social media. But there's still always, I mean, even after a first date or a second date, there's still that first date phase. So it's nervousness, the not wanting to mess up, trying to impress.
Yep. Absolutely. So, hopefully not bringing his laundry, things like that.
God, someone else. I'm going to react 100% differently. It's just not one of those things that you mentally prepare yourself for. Like if he, as a woman, we prepare for different kinds of scenarios.
Sure.
What would I do in this situation? At no point did it cross my mind I would receive a bag of laundry.
I don't know how you could. Like, you're like, okay, is he going to try to kiss me? If he does, I'll do this. Is he going to come in a little bit stronger? I mean, what's he going to do? But there's no way, hey, here's this bag. Can you take it? No. For your next date, I will send, I got a response. So I will send you the other background sites that I know that are out there. So, take a look or check whatever you want. So I'll have those to you shortly after we're done here. So I promise I'll get those. So that way, my pleasure. And I know probably as you found out, you can background check you, but it doesn't say, hey, this person's mentally unstable and might bring their laundry with you on their first date, but at least you'll have a little bit more information.
Yeah. I mean, this one was pretty squeaky clean. He had he had military background. He was corrections officer. He was a deputy sheriff at some point. So I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty squeaky clean background check, but it's not going to tell you that he is absolutely bonkers.
I 100% hope, pray, all the above. I don't know, send good vibes that your crazy threshold has already been met and you're not going to have any more for, let's just say, at least 12 months. Unfortunately, that may not be the case, but I'm sending it out your way for sure.
I am proud to say that. I mean, it took me years with the ex-husband. It took me 2 months with the last one. It took me one solid date to pick up on this one. But I'm getting better.
Yeah, no kidding. You're gonna find it out within 3 text messages here on out. That's for sure. Oh, all I know.
Down to a T.
Yeah,
So
all I know.
We'll go to the websites for the background checks. You holler at me.
I will.
So check the crazy.
You get your attitude, your approach, your smile. The right one will be there in no time. I have no doubt about that. Thank you for being along for the ride on the Swipe Wrong podcast. The show is produced by Jay Pelham. You want to reach out to us? We want to hear your story. 317-426-6616. Make sure to text, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you. Shoot us an email at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, YouTube. We are definitely out there. I am the host of the show. My name is Koss. And please make sure to take a listen to us next week because the saga, it continues.